So a little bit about my own participation and my own fundraising history that I wanted to share with you so you have a little bit of knowledge of my own experience with fundraising, but also, like I said, that I've walked the walk, not just the 3-day, but in other events. The picture on the left is from my very first 3-day. It was taken 1 million years ago, but more precisely in 2002. So it's taken 2001. So it's taken in 2001, so it's taken almost 15 years ago. Almost 15 years ago exactly, I'm realizing as I'm saying this, with my best friend Amy. It was my first time walking the 3-day. As I said, I definitely found the fundraising to be a lot easier than the training for me. I did not have as much discipline with the training, which is where I learned very firsthand that how much you train beforehand determines how much you hurt after the event. But it was my first time fundraising and learning how to share a personal story, how to put that together, how to be comfortable asking people for donations, and also getting that amazing, I don't want to say high, but that insane feeling that you get knowing that the people around you are the ones who are supporting you to make something possible. It was great, and then I participated in the 3-day again in 2002. With my twin sister, so just a year later, and I participated in the 3-day again in 2009 as a crew member in Denver, where I raised over $5,000 to be the top crew fundraiser for that event, which was a wonderful experience. On the upper right-hand corner is a picture of me from earlier this year, and that sign that I'm holding up is a list of all of my donors. You can see that there are a lot of names. There's not a lot of blank space on that piece of paper. But 4 years ago, I started doing an event called Cycle for Survival. Again, I did it as a little bit of a fundraising experiment just to see what it would be like to fundraise for a different event because I had only fundraised for breast cancer up until that point. But rare cancers is something that is important to me as well. My father passed away at the age of 55 from esophageal cancer. And so doing something to give back in that capacity, since most of my focus had been on breast cancer, was something that was important to me. And then the photo in the bottom right-hand corner is a picture of my sister on the left, her daughter sandwiched in between me and my mother. And I shared this picture because it's also from this year's Washington, D.C. Race for the Cure. And my mom and my sister decided to start fundraising on the Monday before the event. So they had 6 days to fundraise before they showed up on event. My sister, Megan, raised over $3,000 in about 3 days, and my mom ended up raising over $5,000 in about 5 days. My mom was the number 10 top fundraiser on that event. There's about 11,000 plus participants for that event, and my sister ended up being, I think, one of the top 50 participants for that event. So I really, like I said, try to take what I've learned and help the people around me. And, you know, when we took a look at some of the needs and the tools for the 3-day, this was something that I was really passionate about that I wanted to share with all of you. And my hope is that you like what you hear, you're able to implement some of the suggestions that I have, and that you can then, if you're a team captain or if you're on a team, share this information with them. But there is also another fundraising webinar taking place on Monday, July 25th, so hopefully you can get some more of your friends to join this. My fundraising history has been really, I have done literally crazy things. Like this year I set a goal to try to raise $13,000 in 15 days for my participation in Cycle for Survival. And I actually ended up raising, I wrote this down just before I got on, I ended up raising $16,711 in about 17 days. I did this with the help of 213 donors. And to put this into perspective, because I think it's really important that you hear this, my average donation size was $75. I don't happen to know people who can write a $500,000 check or higher than that. And I know there are some people who do have people in their life who are able to make sizable donations, but that's not me. My thing is I need to ask a lot of people. The year before that, I decided to try to raise $10,000 in 10 days. I waited until that much time out from the event before I started my fundraising. It's different, obviously, with an event like the 3-day where there are travel, many people travel to do the event, and you want to make sure you have that taken care of. But that has kind of been my thing, is just experimenting with how much money I can raise in as short of a period of time, or how that impacts how I ask people, how I follow up with them, and what that looks like. So my fundraising tactics have been, pretty radical, and I don't necessarily say, like, I expect you guys to all try to raise $17,000 in 15 days or anything like that. But the concept of, asking everyone of really expanding your donor base, of asking, for a specific amount, all of those are things that we'll touch on. So we're going to go ahead and get started with fundraising advice that works. And again, I'm using some of what I've learned and what I've shared with my friends and family to help them with their fundraising. And I want to start with 2 reminders. I just had to share these with my sister, who was apprehensive about asking people for money. The first is that no one is going to give away their last dollar. And I think for those of us who are nervous about asking people for money, or who think about fundraising in those terms of, I hate asking people for money, remember that no one is going to give away their last dollar. If someone wants to support you, they will, and they'll do it because they have the money to be able to do that. And secondly, no one is going to donate more than they're comfortable giving. So regardless of how much money you may ask for, and that is something that I'll be talking about, is asking for a specific amount, regardless of how much you ask for, someone is going to give you what they are most comfortable giving. Sometimes that may mean that they give you not what you ask for. Sometimes it means that they give you more than you ask for. But no one's going to give more than they're comfortable giving. So even if you ask for that specific amount and you're apprehensive about that, remember that people are going to give what they can and what they are comfortable giving.